How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder. To recap, Game 2 of the American League Wildcard Series between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and this is another late night pod, not instant, but not so instant reaction to what transpired. Yankees get the win, though. They even up the series. It was not easy by any means, and that's what these games are going to be. They win 4-3, and that sets up an elimination game for both teams now tomorrow, and that is going to be played later in the day. It's now going to be played at I think 8 p.m. Eastern time now because the Dodgers just won and knocked off the Reds. They swept that series, which I think we kind of figured. The Reds did take an early lead tonight, but the Dodgers are just too good. They are in a different weight class than the Reds. Credit to the Reds for rallying and making the postseason, but it was going to be a quick exit for them, and that's what happens. But congratulations to them on this season. Hopefully they're heading in the right direction now with Terry Francona leading the way. Already paid off immediate dividends with this season. So, yeah. But the Dodgers, again, they're in a different weight class than the Reds are. So they move on. I think they're taking on who are they taking on now? Right, they're taking on the Brewers now, right? They are no, they're taking on the Phillies. That's right. Oh wow, that's gonna be that's an electric series. And then it gets started on Saturday. But we still have three game threes tomorrow. So we got Tigers, Guardians, Cubs, Padres, and then Yankees, Red Sox, which is what we're gonna talk about. We got to talk about game two between these two teams. So yeah, Aaron Boone received a lot of heat for the decisions that were made yesterday with the lineup and pulling Max Fried, and then immediately Luke Weaver chalks it up, and the Yankees end up losing. But you could also look at the fact that 17 consecutive batters came up and did nothing. The offense was quiet in between Volpe hitting the home run and Volpe hitting the single late in the game. And then you had the bases loaded, nobody out, and you couldn't get a big hit. So there's a lot of other things to point to besides Aaron Boone. And I understand. Look, I was frustrated with the fact that they took Max Fried out, and then you look at the other side and you see Garrett Crochet throw 117 pitches and go into the eighth inning. Why couldn't our starter do that? Why couldn't the Yankees starter do that? Yeah, you get frustrated over that, but it happens. It happens. The thing that was more aggravating was just the fact that you left 54 homers on the bench. You left Ben Rice on the bench, and you left Jazz Chisholm on the bench. And the crazy thing is, these guys played tonight, or yesterday, technically, as I'm recording this, and they are the main reasons that the Yankees won the game. Because immediately, bottom of the first inning, Rodon pitches a 1-2-3 inning. Rodon was very sharp early. He was a mixed bag, but he was very sharp early. The first two innings, he looked locked in. He was dominant. Then the Red Sox started to get to him a little bit. There were some mistakes that led to runs being scored. We'll get into that. But immediately in the bottom of the first inning, so 2 outs. Grisham flies out. Judge grounds out to third base. Cody Bellinger, single. Ben Rice comes up against Brian Bayo now. And the first pitch that he sees, a cutter right in the zone, puts it into right field for a 2-run homer to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead, and the crowd went berserk. And right as that happened, you go, see? This is why these guys got to play. But at the same time, all right, I'll just say this too. Garrett Crochet was on another planet in game 1. So even if Ben Rice plays, if Jazz Chisholm is playing, I mean, no, it didn't look like anybody was going to do anything other than when Volpe hit the home run. That's the only run the Yankees scratched across against Crochet. So yeah, Ben Rice comes up, and yeah, I mean, I liked the Yankees' chances better in game 2 because obviously you're not going up against a Cy Young candidate. You're going up against Brian Bayo, who has done well against the Yankees in the past. But you know what? Now you got your A lineup. You got Ben Rice in there, you got Jazz in there, and Ben Rice does damage immediately. 2-run homer. So 2-0 Yankees. So on top of the second, Rodon, quick inning. Fly out, strikeout. And I'm thinking, man, he's really brought his A game today. And then bottom of the second, Wells walks, but Volpe grounds into a double play to end the inning, and that was actually on the very first pitch. So then top of the third inning rolls around, and this is kind of when things turned around, and you thought, all right, well, momentum Red Sox then. Jaron Duran leads off with a single. Then Rafaela, who, I mean, the broadcast pointed it out too, doesn't really walk much. And he walked again. He walked last night against Luke Weaver. I keep saying last night, but he walked in game one. Luke Weaver walked him after he was down 0-2. And then he comes up and Rodon walks him. So you got first and second now. So now Nick Sogard lays down a bunt. So Rodon chases after it, throws it to first base. Ben Rice was coming in for it. So Jazz Chisholm was covering first base. Rodon throws it to him, and Jazz is not able to make the play on that. And it wasn't a great throw. It wasn't the best throw either because Rodon was in a hurry to get it off. But Jazz was taken off the bag, and that allowed Sogard to reach. So that could have been one out. So right there, when that happens, you know for a fact that the Red Sox are going to find a way to scratch across some runs now. Rodon strikes out Refsnyder, but then up comes Trevor Story, who has been a thorn in the Yankees side in this short series so far. And again, yeah, he was coming over an illness. Again, he looks fine. Looks fine to me, and he did more damage later in the game. So on the third pitch, slider, Rodon throws to him, and he hits it to center field. That scores Duran, that scores Rafael, and the game is tied just like that. Just like that. And at that point, that was one instance where I thought Red Sox are going to take over this game. But then, and again, there's still only one out. But a clutch double play for the Yankees. Bregman grounds it out to the right side. Jazz makes a great play on it, throws it to Volpe. Volpe gets it off, throws it to Rice. Inning-ending double play. Great play by the Yankee infielders there. So that gets the Yankees out of the jam there. Then Ryan McMahon comes up, first postseason at bat, lines a single to right field. Grisham then grounds out. It wasn't a clean play where the Red Sox could have forced to. They kind of just were able to get the force out at second base. So Grisham took over for McMahon at first base. But then Judge comes up, lines a single to center field. So now the Yankees are set up. They got runners at first and second. And this is where I was a little surprised, but not completely. Cora came out because I saw Justin Wilson warming up in the bullpen. So I'm saying, are they going to go to their bullpen early? And that's exactly what happened. Alex Cora was being really aggressive here, trying to go for the win because he believed with all the lefties they had in the bullpen, the matchups that they had, the lanes they would have to go to when they were seen fit. I mean, it was anybody's game at that point. He's like, we're trying to get the sweep and get out of here. So he goes to the bullpen right away in the bottom of the third inning. And he goes to Justin Wilson. And there ended up being a pass ball. Grisham was going on it, I believe. So he ends up going to third base. And then Judge ends up going to second on that. So now you got second and third with one out. So you're thinking, all right, prime opportunity for the Yankees to score, right? And then Bellinger hits a lazy fly ball to the outfield that's not deep enough. And then Ben Rice comes up, and he hits a missile to right field, and he hit it too hard, and it's hit right to Nate Eaton. So you had Bellinger didn't hit it hard enough to score Grisham, and then you had Rice with two outs. He hit it too hard. He didn't hit it soft enough for it to drop and allow Judge and Grisham to score on that. And just the bad luck that the Yankees had there. But still, I mean, you had to get a run across. It amazes me how they just, at times, you struggle with runners in scoring position. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. So now we go to the top of the fourth inning. Romy Gonzalez pops out. Narvaez strikes out. Nate Eaton does single. But then they're able to get Jaron Duran to ground out to second. And that's the end of the inning. Bottom of the fourth, nothing happened. Stanton grounds out. Chisholm pops out. Wells grounds out. Top of the fifth inning, Rafaela gets called out on strikes. Line out to Bellinger. And then a fly out to Judge by Refsnyder. So now we go bottom fifth inning. So now Justin Slayton comes into the game. Volpe flies out. McMahon grounds out. But then we got a two-out rally. Grisham is able to work a nice at bat. And he gets on base. and then he ends up getting to second on a wild pitch by Slayton. And then Judge hits a ball to left field. And I thought the inning was over. I thought Duran was coming down with that. He dives for it, and it hits off the bottom of his glove. And Grisham ends up scoring, and the Yankees take the lead. Judge gets credit for the single, but I do agree that it probably should have been an error. Like, that was an easy catch. Duran has to catch that. He catches that 9 times out of 10. And it's just the one time he doesn't catch it. So the Yankees got a huge break on that. And then Steven Matz comes into the game and Bellinger grounds out. But then, like, the crowd is going nuts again. Yankees have the lead. Everything's well and good. And it didn't even last for that long because Trevor Story comes up. Rodon throws a couple of balls out of the zone. And next one throws a fastball right down the middle. And Story hits it into the left field seats for a home run, and the game is tied. So again, that was another instance where I was like, all right, well, momentum Red Sox, here we go. This is where they take over. And then Bregman ends up walking. Romy Gonzalez ends up popping out. And then Narvaez, again, another clutch double play. A smooth double play, hit to third base. McMahon fields it, throws it to second, out. And then they get Narvaez out at first base. Jazz throws it over to Rice. The third out of the inning. So now, bottom of the sixth inning comes around. And the Yankees got a couple guys on base. Volpe comes up. They make a pitching change. They go from Steven Matz, former Met, to Zach Kelly. Well, former Cardinal also. They go to Zach Kelly. And Volpe is up in the count, 3-0. And I'm saying, all right, either get a hit, pass the baton. But then called strike, and then he just waves at a pitch. And we saw this. Remember, you go back to May, the Sunday night game against the Mets, same thing. Bases were loaded. Well, not the exact same thing, but runner scoring position. Volpe has a chance to, get on base, and he ends up waving at a pitch. Awful swing. So he ends up striking out to end that frame. So now Carlos Rodon is still in there. He's still in there. Actually, I forgot to mention, though, Boone did come out in the top of the sixth inning to talk to Rodon. And I don't think it was one of those mound visits where he was... it was more of a mound visit than it was, hey, I'm taking the ball from you and we're going to the bullpen. So he left Rodon in there. And Rodon was able to get out of it. So give him credit. Give him credit. But see, Boone would have been in a lose-lose situation there because you keep Rodon in and then all of a sudden he gives up another run. Well, that actually ended up happening in the seventh inning. But yeah, Rodon was able to get out of the sixth inning. He stays in for the seventh inning. He walks Nate Eaton on 4 pitches. And then he basically was going to walk Duran. But he ends up hitting Duran. He ends up hitting Duran on the 4th pitch. So 8 pitches out of the zone. So now he takes him out. Brings in Fernando Cruz. So this is what I was trying to say. If the Red Sox would have cashed in and scored a run in this inning, then everybody would have been all over Boone saying, "Oh, they should have took him out. Why did they wait so long?" This is one of the reasons why Boone's never going to win, because it's either you leave the starter in for too long or you take him out too quickly. It's a lose-lose situation. So yeah, not great. This was the other instance where I said, yeah, this is where it all unravels. So Fernando Cruz comes in, and the Yankees get a huge break. The Red Sox do something that you could say, well, the Yankees have done that too, where they can't lay down a bunt. Rafaela comes up, lays down a bunt. It's a pop-up straight up in the air, and Fernando Cruz makes the play. That's the first out of the inning. Then he gets Nick Sogard to fly out to shallow left field. Bellinger makes a nice play on that. And then Masataka Yoshida comes up. 2 guys on base. Kind of the same spot. Really the same spot he came in Game 1. And he does get a single. But Jazz Chisholm, with the game-saving play, they don't record an out, but he prevents a run from scoring. Now, he ends up throwing it to first base to still try to get out Yoshida. Not a clean catch by Rice. The ball trickles away. And Nate Eaton, he doesn't go to score. You would have thought that he would have kept going With there being 2 outs, he would have kept running. But no, he stayed at third base, and that was a huge break for the Yankees because he could have scored. He should have scored. Probably would have scored if he would have just kept running, put his head down, and just kept running. It would have been 4-3 Red Sox. So now Trevor Story comes up, and I thought, yep, here we go. he's gonna deliver. He's been a thorn in the Yankees side, like I said, in this series. And on the 4th pitch, hits a ball deep to center field. This is one of 2 balls that I thought, how did that not go out? How did that not go out? Grisham's able to track it down, make the play, just shy of the wall. I mean, that went almost 400 feet, 393. But that was the deepest part of the stadium. So the ball stays in. Yankees get out of the inning there. So now we go to the bottom of the 7th. They put in Garrett Whitlock, and Garrett Whitlock threw a lot of pitches. The Yankees didn't see him in Game 1. He gets McMahon to strike out. Then Trent Grisham comes up, and he hits a double to right field. And now Judge comes up with a runner in scoring position. And I'm saying, and I think every Yankee fan was saying this, Judge has to come through in this spot. Judge has to come through in this spot. Because if he doesn't and the Yankees lose this game, it is going to be another long offseason. And Judge, unfortunately, strikes out on a pitch that's on the, more on the outside part of the plate. But it was in the zone. It was a strike. And he gets caught looking. And then Bellinger comes up, and he flies out. So now Devin Williams comes in the top of the 8th inning, was solid in Game 1, did allow a runner to get on base. Same thing applied here. Bregman leads off with the single. And Bellinger, this was an underrated play in this game because Bellinger cuts the ball off and prevents it being a double. So that was great, even though the hit was not so great for the Yankees. So now Nathaniel Lowe comes up, replaces Romy Gonzalez, and he hits a ball back to Devin Williams. And every time, and this even goes back to the Dellin Betances days, every time a pitcher gets the ball, I'm yelling easy, easy, easy. Don't have the yips like Betances, who could throw to a base, and he did throw it a little bit high, but Volpe leaped in the air, caught it, and got the out at second. They get the out at first because Lowe is not a fast runner. So 2 outs, and then Devin Williams gets the former Yankee Carlos Narvaez because, everybody has to keep reminding Yankee fans that Carlos Narvaez used to play for the Yankees, and he only played for the Yankees for 5 or 6 games. He gets Narvaez to strike out, and that ends the inning. So now we go to the top half of the inning. Now we go to the bottom of the 8th. So Lowe comes in to replace, to play first base. And now you got, Ben Rice and Stanton coming up. And another 2-out rally. Another 2-out rally. So Ben Rice strikes out. And then Stanton comes up and he grounds out. Again, I was hoping another opportunity for Stanton to come up big in this series and make his mark in October. And that hasn't happened. He's still looking for that first hit. I think now he's 0 for 8. But I think the more if the Yankees are to move on, it's only a matter of time before Stanton runs into one and he wakes up, and then nuclear Stanton, as some people call him. But now Jazz Chisholm comes up, and now Jazz Chisholm didn't record a hit yet at this point, but again, made that great play to save a run. He's able to walk. He's able to get a walk. So that brings up Austin Wells. So Jazz worked a 7-pitch at bat to get on base. So now Austin Wells comes up. At one point, I thought this pitch was the 3rd pitch of the at bat, I believe, to make it 2-1. He was early. He was like just early on this pitch because that was hit down the line. That was hit, foul. But I thought, if he lined that up, that would have been a 2-run homer. He was on. He was just too quick to the ball. And then Wells works another Yankee that works a 7-pitch at bat, lines a single to right field, and again Yankees catch a break because the ball ricochets off the wall, and then I think it's right. It was Eaton. Yeah, Eaton has to run to the ball to get it. Jazz was going on the pitch, so Jazz is going all the way, and on top of that, it's with 2 outs as well. So Jazz is running like his hair is on fire, and he scores all the way from first base. Wells to second on that. Actually, no. Did he stay? Actually, no. No, he still remained at first on that. And Jazz ends up scoring 4-3 Yankees, huge. And then Volpe comes up, he hit lines a single to Duran. So now it was on a ground ball to left field, ground ball to Duran. So now you got two guys on. McMahon comes up, he works a nice at bat. He ends up walking on 5 pitches. So now they change the pitchers. They bring in Peyton and Toll to face Grisham, and he grounds out. Now this was on a full count. Because I was hoping get an insurance run because again the Yankees in these tight games, the way the bullpen is and the circle of trust, all that, are they going to be able to do it? But yeah, so it's 4-3 going into the ninth inning, and David Bednar comes in. They bring in Goldschmidt to replace Rice. They pinch hit Nate Eaton for Wilner Abreu. The first 2 pitches were out of the zone. Second pitch, the curveball just was out of the zone. Goes back to the curveball, gets a strike. Another swinging strike, 98 miles an hour almost. Ball outside, so it's 3-2. And the Red Sox were going to bring in a pinch runner if Wilner Abreu gets on. But Bednar made sure that didn't happen. He gets Wilner Abreu to strike out, so that's the first out of the inning. Then you get Jarren Duran up, another 3-2 count, and he gets Duran, called strike 3, just caught the inside of the plate. Just caught the inside of the plate for a strike, and they called that. So now it's 2 outs, and now Rafaela comes up, and he hits a ball, the second ball of this game that I said that I thought it was good. I thought it was out. This one I thought, like Stories, like that was hit to the deepest part of the park. The short porch, I thought that was gone. Even when I watched it a couple more times, I'm like, that ball looks like that's gone off the bat. Judge was able to track it down, though, make the catch. Yankees win. They don't make it easy. They don't make it easy. They do not make it easy. But a big night from Ben Rice. You got the clutch hit from Judge, even though should have been called an error. The clutch hit from Austin Wells. And Jazz Chisholm, hey, didn't have a hit in this game, but he had a clutch walk. And he scored all the way from first base with the go-ahead run. And he made that diving play that saved the run. So Jazz Chisholm, I mean, listen, this is why you play him. This is why you play your best players, because your best players make plays like that. But again, I understand the logic, but it's the postseason. It's the postseason. Like Rice, I understand more so because like Goldschmidt had a couple of hits yesterday, has hit lefties all year long. Like, I don't have a problem with that. And on top of that, Austin Wells is good behind the plate. And Austin Wells came up big in game 2. Okay, so, Rice I understand more so. But Jazz has to be in there. Jazz has to be in there. And look at it. The Yankees won, and it was because of Ben Rice. It was because of Jazz. Give credit where credit is due. And it's going to be interesting what the Yankees do tomorrow. We'll talk about that. But once again, Yankees were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They left 9 guys on base. It's just you can't let that happen. Stanton went 0 for 4, has had a tough night, has had a tough series. But like I said, if the Yankees go deeper into the postseason, it's only a matter of time before he wakes up. And it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. It is. Red Sox, how many pitchers they ended up using? So the Red Sox, they ended up using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers. They used 7 pitchers tonight. We didn't see Chapman tonight, so he's going to be available tomorrow. I mean, it's going to probably be another bullpen game for the Red Sox, but they're going to throw more lefties at the Yankees. I mean, some of the guys you saw tonight, you're going to see tomorrow. All hands are on deck tomorrow. All hands are on deck tomorrow for both sides because you got 2 young pitchers going at it, making their postseason debuts. But yeah, I was a little surprised that Bayo got taken out so early. But again, it's Alex Cora was going for the kill shot. You know, he thought being overly aggressive, putting in the bullpen, you thought that, hey, you take your chances and you get a clutch hit, you take the lead, and then you go back to Chapman. Because Chapman was warming up. Warming up. If the Red Sox had the lead, you would have saw Chapman again. But you will see Chapman is probably coming in tomorrow in game 3. But yeah, I mean, the Yankees, look, there are some things that you take away from this game. Like, first of all, the error on the throw to first base by Rodon. That unfortunately, that's kind of I don't like saying it, but it's kind of true. It's kind of typical Yankees, where they make an error in a big spot because we saw it last year in the postseason, and then a team like the Red Sox capitalizes on it. They end up getting 2 runs, but they also got some bad. They also got some breaks in this game. The dropped ball by Duran, and also Eaton not going home when Jazz threw it to first base. There was that. There was the Rafaela bunt. Like there were things that played into the Yankees' favor. So that they kind of got bailed out by mistakes from the Red Sox. Red Sox made mistakes, and you're used to saying the Yankees make mistakes, like with the bunting, the base running, the fielding. Like usually that's the Yankees, but it was the Red Sox in this game. But the Yankees got it done. Like I said, Rodon, mixed bag tonight. Had a strong start. I think had a strong finish. But in between that, yeah, you make a mistake to Story. You get put in a tough spot with the bases loaded. And I was saying, well, I mean, Chapman did it last night in Game 1. Why can't Rodon do it in Game 2? Wasn't able to do it. He did get Refsnyder to strike out, but then Story comes up and gets the 2-run base knock. And Story has been really good in this series. I keep saying it. 2 for 3 in this game with the home run. He had all 3 RBIs tonight for the Red Sox. Red Sox tonight, they went 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. So they hit better than the Yankees, and they left 5 guys on base. Yankees bullpen did its job, though. Fernando Cruz came in, was in trouble, got out of it. Devin Williams gave up the hit to Bregman, but was able to get out of it mainly because of the double play. And then he strikes out Rafaela. And then Bednar, a couple of strikeouts, and then gave Yankee Stadium a heart attack with the fly ball by Rafaela that looked like it was going to go out, but Judge tracked it down. So it's all hands on deck tomorrow. It's all hands on deck. And you do kind of worry that, hey, the Red Sox have seen the Yankees pitchers. They've seen a lot. Like, the Red Sox did unload their bullpen in Game 2. Yankees did the same thing in Game 1. So both teams kind of, familiarize themselves with, what guys throw, things like that. That's why, like, going into Game 2, yeah, it's, Cora goes to the bullpen. He could do that because, you're going to do that anyways because it's postseason, but the Yankees only saw Crochet and Chapman. So the Red Sox were set up very well for this. But what hurts this is the fact that the Red Sox lost the game. Because this is the scenario that could have played out in the World Series. Because the Dodgers did a bullpen game in the one game that the Yankees won. Then they went with Jack Flaherty, and he didn't pitch that long. Then they did a bullpen game again the rest of the way. And if it wasn't for that 5th inning, Yankees most likely win that. And then all of a sudden you go back to L.A., and it's like, well, what are the Dodgers going to do with their pitching situation? So this was kind of similar to that, where it's like, what are the Red Sox going to do? So the Red Sox are going to go with their young pitcher tomorrow, left-hander, Connolly Early is going to get the start. 4 games this year, 1-2, 2.33 ERA, 19 in the 3rd innings, 29 strikeouts, a whip of 1.09. So he is getting the start in Game 3 against Cam Schlittler for the Yankees, who's 4-3, 2.96 ERA, 73 innings pitched, 84 strikeouts, a 1.22 whip. This is quite the spotlight for these 2 young guys. Lefty versus the righty. And the other thing too is what kind of leash are these guys going to be on? Like, I think more so for Early. But how long can Cam Schlittler go? What is Cam Schlittler going to give the Yankees? All hands on deck. Like, are we going to see? Because Luis Gil's not on the roster. Could we see Will Warren in some sort of fashion tomorrow, which would kind of scare the heck out of me? Will Warren in this in that kind of a spot. Cam Schlittler, I feel like, is going to be ready for this, but only time will tell. Will Warren, I would be a little nervous. Not a little. I would be nervous going with Will Warren in this spot if he had to come in at any point in this game. But yeah, I mean, you could say it's advantage Yankees right now. But here's the thing: Cam Schlittler making his first career postseason start. I'm going to bring up the 2017 wild card game again, everybody. I hate to do this for Yankee fans because when I went to the game and what transpired in the first inning, Luis Severino couldn't get an out. Well, he did get one out. He got one out, and that was the only out he got. And Joe Girardi managed the heck out of that game. He went to Chad Green right away. Bases loaded, one out. Chad Green gets 2 straight strikeouts and keeps it at 3-0. Okay? And then it was Robertson. You saw Canely. And you saw Chapman at the end of the game. I'm trying to think. Anybody else they saw? I think that was it, right? Yeah, it was Chad Green. It was Robertson. It was Canely. And then it was Chapman. I think that's it. I don't think anybody else was pitching in that game. Unless I'm missing somebody. But anyways, we've seen a young Yankee pitcher make his playoff debut, and it doesn't go so well. And then you also saw Davy Garcia make his debut, and the Yankees take him out. They put in J Happ, and they end up losing that game to the Rays. I forget which game that was. So, yeah, when young pitchers make their debuts, sometimes with the Yankees it doesn't always go so well. But that's not to say tomorrow that's going to happen. But this is a big spot for the young right-hander to come into. And is he going to be able to deliver? Like I said, I do have confidence in him. I just feel like there's a way about him. I just feel like he's got that edge for tomorrow. Now he might have to calm down a little bit because he might be throwing wild. He might Matt Blake might have to come out for a mound visit, what have you. He's gonna have to calm down because I'm sure he's gonna be jacked up for this game. Yankee Stadium, Yankees Red Sox elimination game. There's a lot on the line. He's gonna have to control his emotions and just realize, hey, it's another baseball game. All right? This is a game you've been playing your entire life. As cliche as that sounds. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But it's anybody's series. It's anybody's series now. And it's amazing how everybody overreacts. Everybody overreacts. Like this kind of series is like how the NFL is week to week. Like game 1, if you're a Yankee fan, you're thinking the season's over. That's it. No chance. And then all of a sudden they win game 2, and you're thinking now the season's back on. Now they got a chance to move on. Win in advance. That's what this kind of series is. Best of 3. It's game 3, but it's basically a game 7. It's a game 7. And the winner of this series is going to take on the Blue Jays. And who's that going to be? We'll find out. We will find out. But like I said, they played everybody that they should have played in game 1. Other than, I guess, again, Ben Rice, you can make an argument. And also Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham played in game 1. So I really think, whatever, we got to get past it. It's in the past now. Everything's fine. They won the game. They won game 2. Jazz came up big. Everything's right in the world. But he better be in the lineup for game 3. And it's just, how is this Yankees lineup going to be tomorrow? Because if they're using a lefty pitcher, are they going to start out with all lefties? Or all righties? Are you going to sit Jazz and... Ben Rice is going to sit. Most likely. Because I think they want Wells back there. And again, Wells came up big in game 2. And Goldschmidt can hit the heck out of lefties. So Goldschmidt's going to be in there. So Ben Rice, I know for a fact, is going to start the game on the bench. But are they going to play Rosario? Caballero? What's going to happen? So also, I'll say that McMahon's going to start off on the bench as well. McMahon's going to start. So it's going to be either Rosario or Caballero. Caballero was at third in game 1, so maybe it's going to be him. Grisham, they're still going to play because Dominguez is just a pinch runner right now, and Austin Slater's not on the roster, So it's really the biggest question to me is Jazz not going to start the game again? I don't. I'm going to say no. I mean, well, actually, no. I'm going to say yes. He's going to start the game. I meant to say no. He's not going to be starting the game off on the bench. Jazz is going to start this game. Jazz is starting this game. They have to play Jazz. They have to. But I think you will see Ben Rice on the bench to start the game, and McMahon's going to be on the bench. That's my guess. If they roll out Rosario again, I mean, if Rosario's playing third, okay, that's one thing. But if you got Caballero and Rosario playing tomorrow, I mean, you really didn't learn from game one. But again, Crochet was dominant. Who was getting a hit off of Crochet other than Volpe? Oh. Well, Judge and Goldschmidt did. Yeah, but, you know. So, yeah. We'll see. But this is a big win. And I got to say this, too, when it pertains to the rivalry. These two games, these two games right here, some of the best games that I've seen from this rivalry in a long time. In a long time. They have been intense. You are on the edge of your seat for every single pitch, for every single at-bat. That's what the rivalry is all about. And you had two games with dramatics at the end. Big moments in each. Turning points, all of that. You've seen it all in these first two games. So, yeah, I know I kind of said that the rivalry is not what it used to be. It's basically non-existent. It's dead. But yeah, no, these first two games, this series, I mean, this has kind of reignited that rivalry. I think, in a way. You know, it has done that. These were two very good baseball games. Very good baseball games. And they were on ESPN. So, you know, ESPN could say, look, this is what happens when Yankees Red Sox play. These are the kind of games you get, especially in the postseason. So, yeah. I mean, whatever happens tomorrow, I expect another great game, even with the uncertainties with the pitching matchups. It's going to be another tight game. This game in game two, it was a game I just didn't think the Yankees were going to win because of how tight it was. Now, you know, the first game, I mean, they lose one. They had one run. They were up 1-0 the majority of the game, and then the Red Sox, you know, put up, a 2-spot. They go ahead. You know, they tack on the third run, and then that's all she wrote, even with the bases loaded, nobody out. But yeah, the Yankees needed to score more runs there. Here, I mean, you win 4-3. Bullpen did its job tonight. Now, last night, whatever. Tonight, last night, game two, whatever you want to say, as I'm recording this. So, yeah, the Yankees won a close game. So, that shows that they're capable of winning these type of games in the postseason. And I also, again, don't want to I'm kind of putting a damper on it a little bit. Like, imagine the Red Sox are missing several players for this series. They're missing Roman Anthony. They're missing Marcelo Meyer. There's going to be no Lucas Giolito in Game 3. He got ruled out. Like, imagine they didn't trade Devers, like I said last night, after Game 1. And if they had these players, like, how would these games have played out? You know? That's why I'm saying, like, the Red Sox, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be a really good team. They're going to continue to be a good team. This is their comeback. This is their comeback. Because they've had these years now in between 2018 and now where they just kind of, you know, I mean, 2021 they made it. They knocked the Yankees off in the wild card. But other than that, you know, they finished at the bottom of the division a couple years ago. You know, with the Yankees almost. Yeah, you know, like they got a good farm system. You know, they got a stud pitcher in Garrett Crochet. Like, they got to add, like, if they add to this rotation, you know, and the young players develop, I mean, you know, you get Casas back maybe next year, hopefully, after the injury he suffered. You still got Bregman, Roman Anthony. I mean, Rafael. They got all these guys. They got good players, man. They got good players. They got good young players, good young talent, and they got a good manager. However, Boston fans may feel about him after after the 2018 championship, he's a good manager. He's one of the better managers in baseball. So yeah, no, that's just another thing I wanted to bring up too. Is the Red Sox a little bit shorthanded, but yeah, I mean they're good enough to win this series. They are. It's again anybody's series in Game 3, but the Yankees get the win. They hold off elimination for at least one more day. It all comes down to tomorrow to see who ends up going north of the border to take on the number one seeded Toronto Blue Jays, who both teams know very well, and both teams, the Blue Jays, know very well. So that's pretty much it. Like I said at the top, I think we covered everything. 3 Game 3s tomorrow. 3 Game 3s tomorrow. Yankees Red Sox is the one that's on late during Thursday Night Football, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of split screen action. Tigers Guardians, Padres Cubs. And then we see how the rest of the playoff bracket shapes out. Red season's over, Dodgers move on. They're taking on the Phillies. So it's going to be Shohei Ohtani against Christopher Sanchez, who had a very good year. Like that. That's going to be one of the best series. We're still waiting on the Blue Jays. Well, again, we're still waiting on who everybody else is playing. They're all waiting, and we'll find out. We'll find out after the final game concludes what every matchup is going to be. Mariners, Brewers, and Blue Jays await their opponents. So the Guardians, Tigers, whoever wins that series will be taking on the Mariners. Whoever wins Cubs, Padres will take on the Brewers, and then whoever wins between Yankees and Red Sox takes on the Blue Jays. So that's pretty much it. I'll be doing my picks at the end of the week. I'll give you my Thursday night pick. So it's Rams 49ers. Now, the 49ers, I mean, they just continue to deal with the injury bug. So Brock Purdy, Juwan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall are all out for this game. They're already without George Kittle. There's no Brandon Ayuk, no Nick Bosa. Playing against the Rams, the line went up from 5.5 to now it's a touchdown. Actually now it's 8.5. In my spread pool, it's 5.5. So obviously I'm taking the Rams. 8.5 is a lot of points. Mac Jones has done a good job filling in. Did a good job filling in for Brock Purdy, but I just think it's too steep of a mountain to climb. Like, I know it's a divisional game, but the Rams are the healthier team. That defense is going to get after Mac Jones. It's going to be hard for the 49ers to put up points, even though the one guy they have that is playing is Christian McCaffrey. But I gotta go with the Rams. I think the Rams win. 8.5 is a lot of points, but I mean I'm taking the Rams, and I'm going to say they cover. So that's it. There's your Thursday night preview at the conclusion of this Yankee Red Sox recap. So a lot going on tomorrow between baseball, football, basketball, and hockey are on the horizon. Get excited, because the sports equinox will be coming up soon, later this month. So as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video, to the channel. Check out my other videos as well if you care to do so. Make sure to follow us on the social media platforms in the description below. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to us as well. Just look up Infinite Sports. You'll find us there as well. So I brought down all the equipment for a somewhat instant recap or instant reaction. So the quality was much better. This is the first time I've worn my glasses on camera. So, I'm not trying to make a fashion statement, but, just didn't feel like taking them off. Thought I would look more philosophical with the glasses. But anyways, expect another instant reaction tomorrow after Game 3, or tonight after Game 3, whenever you're watching this and however you're listening to this. And I always forget this because, again, I post these for audio, so you can listen to them. So yes, I am wearing glasses. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm wearing glasses. But yeah, so that is pretty much it, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.